Hey, so, hi, how are you guys doing tonight? Um, Tonight I want to have this as an episode 2 of the Love podcast. Of course, if you're following this page, Pink and Blue Network is a social networking club. We host networking events. We host speed dating events. And we also host group outings where if you want to explore Atlanta, so you're not interested in networking nor are you interested in speed dating events, you just want to explore Atlanta, we also host speed dating events. So let's say you want to go to the movies or a concert in Atlanta, we would go in a group setting. It would have to be at least 5 people or more to go ahead, plan an event, and go in a group setting. And it's great for people that are still extroverts, people that are not, tucked behind on internet, that still likes hanging out with other human beings. We do have certain ways that we verify you and clarify you. But it's all in good fun, and that's something else that would be good for people that's not looking to network or join our speed dating events. So in episode 1 of the podcast, like I said, on my personal page, I do have a podcast where I talk about community issues. It's something that I really do find important and necessary for us, for our community, for our earth, for the world. And I just break down ideas that maybe someone will find, that makes sense or that can happen. Because in a way that this does coincide with community organization, because, communities have, husbands and wives, or wives and wives, or husbands and husbands. I mean, a community is, a family, so, which is what a lot of people looking for love is what they seek, people that want love, they're looking for something that they didn't find in life or find within the family that they were given. Love is something that I really feel like is important, and it definitely does matter, and I do know 100% that it does exist. I think that we are a learning generation. We are the generation that's going to learn and be revealed different things and be more acceptance in our future, because we are in 2025, and we're still behaving and having the same mindset that we had years ago, centuries ago. Obviously things have to change. There's no way that we can have the things that we have now. So much gratitude for that. We have televisions, we have vehicles, we have airplanes, we have, so many things where, think about it. There was a time where people had to, if they wanted to transfer a message, they had to get on a horse and a carriage or walk with their 2 feet. You wanted to get to another side of the country, you had to, it was a long, hard journey. Now you could get on an airplane and just travel. I think that learning gratitude is kind of learning love, because that everything good that you receive is coming from something good, right? If you experience anything good, from a smile to, something that you dreamed about doing, that's love, so we want to, at this, talking on the Love podcast, like I said, on this podcast for Pink and Blue Network, we do touch base on the speed dating the speed dating aspect of things, where I don't want you to come to the speed dating event and you just think it's just going to be a speedy thing. No, I really want to collect a group of people really wanting to have a relationship, because everyone that is single doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with them or they're doing something wrong. It could just have to do with something with growth and patience and communication and a lot of listening, right? Because love has to exist, because love is truly what I believe keeps the world turning, keeps us waking up every day, and keeping us able to have the ability to smile and laugh and feel joy. There's no other reason for that. Any feeling of goodness and happiness to me is love. And that's just how I see it. So, all right. So I do write everything down because I want to make sure that I hit all my points, everything that I want to express on this episode that I'm able to express. I do have mommy brain, so just be patient with me, and I hope that we learned something today. I would love to get some feedback, some comments. What is your input? Please just keep the negativity away. Anyone that can sit down and comment something negative on someone's channel that is trying to build people up or share something positive, you need help. Okay, there's something seriously wrong with you. So I just hope that you can stay positive, give positive feedback. Let's stay away from negativity. It would be kind of weird, because the whole purpose of this episode is to express love, to find out, how can we embrace love? How can we put love on this earth? What are different people's point of view, Because at the end of the day, we need to realize that you need to connect with the person that is more on what you believe. It's very simple. And we don't realize that. We're going to get really in depth. I don't want to start talking about already what I've had prepared here for you, but love is something that is great and grand. And, it's something that if we learn it within ourselves, like we learn to love ourselves, we learn to love the earth. We love to learn love the sun and the moon, the things that gives us food and crop and rain, and to take care of us, the wisdom, our thoughts, everything comes from something good. Yes, there's bad, but, what happens if we start focusing on the good and appreciating love and really trying to put into 2025 what love is for humans, for us, for the singles. This is not for the people in relationships. I have no badge or criteria to talk to people that are in committed relationships. But what I do is I do take advice from people in committed relationships that have been together for 10, 15, 20 years. And also you'll notice when I do interview people, I'm going to interview all races, all genders, LGBTQ community, males, females, people that are married, people that are single, people that are in boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, fiancés. I want to get insight on everyone, because that's the thing. Everyone speaks like they have the answers to everything. And if anyone had the answer, right, to everything, then everything would just stop failing, right? So I believe, and you'll notice on my page, I always put motivational speeches and things like that, because I do believe that we can learn from each other. You know what I'm saying? But to just act like you just know everything is far beyond truth. And I believe that we all learn from each other. There are things that you do learn from each other, because, of course, the people giving the advice, they are speaking from experience, right? And what they had to go through to get to where you're trying to go. So if you are single and you're not giving up on love and you're wanting love, hey, check out this podcast. Show your girl some support. So, like I said earlier, you'll see me glancing down. I do have everything that I want to talk about written down. Just keep me on topic, because I have a lot of things that I'm gonna touch on this episode, and I also want to help make sure that I stay on track. Okay, I do have a little bit of mom brain. Okay. All right, so like I said, this is episode 2, my first episode. If you got to see, I was able to interview 2 interesting couples. One was a married woman, one was a couple that they were just cuddling, and they let me interview them, and that was great. And that was just, my first episode. So my hope is to be able to get every race, every gender, every, height, weight. I mean, we want to get the insight on everyone because, love is something that everyone does want. All right. So hopefully we can bring that to you here. All right. So first, I want to welcome you to our podcast where we talk, we research and get outside insight on relationships. This is for the singles out there. Single either because of trauma, you're single because of fear, or you're in the process of self-healing and wanting to be in a relationship. Today's topic, all right, is why are people single in 2025? So on my personal page, I know I said this earlier, but I'm just going to go on the breakdown of how I have everything written down, okay? So on my personal page, I have a podcast where I speak about community organization. Even though these are 2 different topics, I am talking about love and relationships. But community organization does come into hand with helping families stay together, marriages stay solid and strong for the family, everyone in long relationships, the OGs of the world, that stand through the hard times together. That's why I go out and, like I told you before, I had my first podcast. I was able to speak with one married woman and a couple and get their insight. Okay. I'll be doing some of that. You got to see my first podcast where I did get to do that. Okay. This is not for the people that are saying, I want to spend the rest of my life alone. I don't need no man, or I don't need no woman. I don't need a relationship. This podcast is not for you. This podcast is for the people that knows they want to be in a relationship, but they are single and they want to get insight. They want to know, why are they alone? Are they looking at themselves? Are they always the victim? Are they always picking the first person that they find? Instead of dating and trying to meet more than one person. Because there's this thing where if you're dating more than one person, you're whoring, or no, you can, without any intimacy, you could go out, have lunch with someone. You know what I mean? Dating, you have to kind of do that. If you're single and the first person that you meet and say they're obsessed with you, they're in love with you, whether you're male or female, is that, did you even get to know them? Did you date other people? Like, you have to get to know people. Like, is that something that you do? You know what I'm saying? Are you the type of person, and I actually wrote this down, that goes as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog, into a relationship without getting to know someone? On this podcast, I want us to have open discussion. So, like I said, I would love for you guys to give feedback and comments on this, okay? On this podcast, let's talk about the dark side of relationships. Let's talk about the good side. Do men and women see love the same way? Why are we still handling relationships the way that we did back in BC times? We are in 2025. We obviously do not just exist so easily just because two people want to get married. It doesn't mean that they are actually made for each other, obviously. There is more in-depth information and connection needed for an attempt to have a true bond with another person. Love matters to me truly. I believe that love can heal the world, and if every home had love in it, it would reflect on the earth. And love would ooze into our galaxy. Ooh, I love that one. Like, I really actually believe that. You know what I mean? We're all a ball of energy. So, if we're all sad and we're depressed and we don't know what's going on and we are energy, that's surrounding the earth and that's oozing into our galaxy. I think like that. Okay, so I wrote that down. Okay, so today I want to talk about 5 most popular reasons why relationships end according to Google AI. All right, so let's talk about that. Okay, so we have number 1 for communication. Number 2 is infidelity. Number 3 is mismatched expectations. Number 4 is financial problems. And number 5 is lack of trust. All right, so let's talk about communication. All right, so communication. All right, so this is something that a lot of people will say that they go through. I mean, I'm pretty sure you had a girlfriend or a guy friend that he'll be like, oh my gosh, she just doesn't get me, or oh my gosh, I just can't understand her, or you know what I mean? Like, that's something that I bet that a lot of us that are single went through that. Like, you feel like you're explaining to someone what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you need, what you want. And the other person, it's almost like it's not connecting. Like the communication isn't like making a connection, basically. But that's just an example. Like I said, we're just talking. You know what I mean? Communication could mean, you have a lot of people where, and this is male and female. We're at a time where males and females are both doing things that just, there's no difference in. For me, that's one other discussion, but yeah, like communication can be, there can be either person in the relationship. It's like the communication isn't happening. Like there's someone that feels like they can be very direct. They never have a problem being direct, but in a relationship it could change. Or someone might feel nervous or have trauma from different relationships before, where the communication isn't. It's a little bit harder to achieve, but that is actually the top reason why, unfortunately, relationships fail. So just imagine, how can you communicate? Can you see before you decide to, share your body and your emotions and your personal self with someone? Were you able to even communicate with them? Like, do you know exactly what they want from you? Has that been communicated? Has it been communicated? What is it that they're looking for? What reason do they want to come to your house? What reason are they speaking to you on the phone? What reason are they taking time and energy from your life? What's the reason? Communication. All right. And we have number 2. Again, this is a top 5 reasons of relationships ending. Number 2 is infidelity. And, we all know that there's no saints in this subject. Men and women both, have infidelity. But infidelity can be something a little bit deeper. there can be people that do it for a variety of reasons, but it is when you are married in a committed union, it could be something that is horrible and just it's not something that's supposed to happen. But what brings people to do something like that? Usually it's because, you know, they're very simple. They're lacking something in the relationship and they go outside and usually they end up regretting it, because a union between two people is so important. But, for some people, we're not perfect. And it ends up being infidelity, which is one of the worst things. And another, like it is the top 5 reasons why relationships do end. And number 3, we have mismatched expectations. So I would take that as meaning, you match with someone, which, I'll talk about this further on, but, lust is very powerful. Lust is just as powerful as love. It feels the same. It smells the same. It tastes the same. I mean, a lot of times and this is something I used to think was a curse, but it's a good thing where you can see someone else's ability. Like, I don't really believe in the whole, looking down on someone because someone is doing better financially. It means that you're better than someone that isn't doing as financially well. Sometimes it's like, you can see someone's potential, Usually, if a male or a female falls for another person or LGBTQ, if anyone falls in love with someone else, it's usually because you see something in that person. For some people, it is just lust. So that's a mismatched expectation. This person thinks you're very hot. This person thinks you could be the king of the earth. You know what I mean? It's like it's a mismatched expectation. It could also be, you meet someone and then like 3 months down the line, you find out the person doesn't want kids and you might want kids, or, it's a mismatched expectation. You can meet someone and they're okay with living their life working 9 to 5, and you want to be the next big supermodel. You want to be the next big movie director. You want to be the next big music producer, and here you are with someone just it's a mismatched expectation. Like, you're expecting to have someone that's going to stand by you and have your back if you want to excel. Or, you're like, oh my gosh, this person, I'm a homebody. I'm okay with working 60 years of my life working for a company, which isn't nothing wrong with that. But there are people where you should go and be with someone that kind of wants the same thing, because then what happens is you end up pushing someone back or holding someone down, and you never want to do that. And with mismatched relationships, that's basically what happens. Sometimes you're in mismatched relationships, and you're probably the reason why someone's dreams didn't come true. And if you weren't with them, if they didn't love you so much, because there are people where, you could be with a mismatched person and you love them. You know what I mean? You take everything that I said, intimacy, a bond, all of that. They take that seriously, but there's nothing there, and you don't want, and then eventually, it doesn't work because it was a mismatched relationship. There was mismatched expectations. All right, and we have number 4, financial problems. I don't even know if you have to be in a relationship to deal with that, right? That's whether you're single or in a relationship. But when you are in a relationship, it could be, I could imagine, very tough. Like, one thing I can say, it's great for your host, the founder of this group, Pink and Blue Network, to be a little bit honest with you, because I'm looking for this network to be more than a networking group. Of course, maybe I might not give you all of me, but I want to give you a little bit of me. I honestly, I always, like, I never dated millionaires and billionaires, but I did realize that, one of my flaws was I didn't realize, I went from, staying with my mom to always being in, serious relationships where I was in serious relationships. So they weren't millionaires and billionaires, but they were usually doing better than me. And what about if it was a lot? What about if it was a lot to try to take care of me and, my kids, or, whatever the case is? So financial problems can be tough. And there are men out there that will, get with someone that might even have children. And there's women out there that will do the same. And they'll get into a relationship and they'll want to help and commit. But what if that person has dreams and goals and things that they're trying to do from their life? So financial problems can be, I can see where that does come in. You have to always want to make sure that if you are trying to be in a committed relationship, there are people that does not care about finances and how much money someone has, but you do still want to make sure that person is okay, and you still want to make sure that person is able to elevate. You don't want to get into a relationship and be someone's bill or someone's burden, I would say. So I can understand that, but sometimes there's unexpected bills, right? There's unexpected problems, especially if you get into a committed relationship. But like I said, this podcast is for the people that are single, because I have no right to talk about people that are in long-term marriages. These are for people that are single. If you experience financial problems, was one of the reasons you broke up, you want to go into your next relation being financially stable, being financially secure, if you are single. Just my advice. Number 4, financial problems. Ooh. And then we have number 5. Ooh. Lack of trust. Now this, I can see how that could be in the top 5, okay? And one thing that I can say, my 5th opinion on the top 5, number 1 being communication, number 2 being infidelity, number 3 being mismatched expectations, number 4 being financial problems, number 5 being lack of trust. My opinion that I can give on that is, everyone has to realize, we have TV, we have our favorite celebrities, our favorite actors and actresses. And we could see, one thing that they can say is that they went through something, right? And, you meet someone at work or at school or, in the grocery line, and you realize that we're all kind of going through things. So I feel like trust is something that is very, very important in a relationship, right? I would almost say, I think Kendrick Lamar said it, like, trust is even more important than love, because to me, that would be one word. Trust would mean love for me, so, and for, I believe, everyone, everyone wants to be with someone that they could trust, that they could know that wouldn't hurt them, or even if the relationship didn't work out, like, you wouldn't just, want the worst for me, would you? Like, trust is something that's very important because it's so hard to have, You have you have people that are experiencing the closest people that they could have ever had, that, they didn't know them or they didn't trust them, because, trust is something that I think that we all are working on, because none of us are angels, none of us are perfect. But, people that are single, you have to always remember that you're going to meet someone with some type of trauma. You just have to remember what stage are they in? Are they still in the trauma phase, because you have to have your time to mourn and cry and say, this happened to me. You have to have that. Have you healed from that? You know what I mean? Because trust is needed for you to actually be healed and go through life with someone without worrying or second guessing them, which is very big and it's very important. So yeah, that was the top 5 reasons that I found on AI Google about, why relationships end. And of course, in my next podcast, we could go over, there's about 30, okay, reasons. So right now we just touched the 5. The next thing that I have here that I want to talk about, because we're talking about relationships, how can we not talk about Adam and Eve? Now, of course, you don't have to be biblical. You don't have to be religious. You don't even have to be spiritual, right? We know that everything that we see is a creation, right? So there has to be a beginning. There's a beginning for everything. So for me, in the Bible, us being taught about Adam and Eve, and this is what I wrote, okay? According to the Bible, the explanation was there was a first human male and a first human female. What I take from that is that whoever created us, our creators, who had to know that life can be hard. Life can have a lot of beautiful experiences. Life can have a lot of hard experiences. Life has a lot of experiences. Since you do have to go through it on your own, you do have to go through it, the difficult experiences on your own. But the way I see it is that our creators that made us knew that we would need a partner to go through those times together. Okay, and of course, this is just a open place to talk. So these are my opinions, okay? I don't want to be taken as literal. These are my opinions. I want to be open on how I view love and relationships, and I want to explain the importance of love to me and how I see love. And everyone has a right to express love the way they see love. So like I was saying, these are all my opinions, okay? We have to admit the immaturity of thinking that relationships are just going to be 100% okay. There will not be any of the disagreements. There will not be ups and downs. Just think about the people that you love the most. And if there isn't anyone that you have never loved before, you get into a relationship, if you haven't experienced love with someone that you do not seek anything from but love, then maybe you should second guess dating, okay? If your intentions when you meet someone isn't, I am ready for love. I am ready to, be kind to someone, be considerate to someone, have empathy for someone. If that's not your goal, to listen to someone, the top 5 reasons that was there, then you shouldn't be dating and you shouldn't be looking to be in a relationship. If those aren't your intentions when you're getting into a relationship. All right. Has anyone in a relationship ever thought to themselves a long time ago, what I'm trying to say here is, I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to talk about our current selves now, our current situation and relationships and races and genders right now in 2025 versus a long time ago. So has anyone in a relationship now ever thought to themselves a long time ago, there were blacks, whites, Hispanics, Jewish people in marriages with families, and because of coldness and darkness, something that we just don't understand, they were ripped away from each other, not having what we have now, which is the freedom to love whoever we want, whatever gender they are, whatever color they are, whatever race we have. Those things readily open to us. The things that we have right now readily open to us. When let's say you are in a relationship with someone. Okay, let's say you are a black male and you are with a black woman. Do you think about the ancestors that were married and were ripped away from slavery, cutting the life that they were supposed to have short because of darkness that is in every single human soul on this planet? You know, when you meet your black husband or your black wife or, you know, your black significant other, do you realize that at some point there was a race that has what we have, the ability to have just love, to just have companionship, to have it freely without worrying about someone just busting in your door and taking you away? You know, do you think about that? Do you think about the ancestors that does not have what you have? Okay. If you are a white Jewish woman and a white Jewish male, do you think about how many Jewish husbands and wives and children were ripped away from each other because of pure evilness, not being able to live out the life that we have, the free option, the freedom to do whatever we want to do without anyone taking us away from each other. Okay? When a white male or a white female with a black male or a black female, do you know that the loving story, the couple that had to leave the town that they grew up in, the only town that they knew, they had to move to another state because it was illegal for biracial couples to be together. In actuality, a woman or male could be executed a long time ago if you're in a biracial relationship. Do you think to yourself, wow, my people before had to hide this, had to be ashamed of this? How do we value love? What is love for you? For me, I have spent a lot of time wanting the Disney princess dream of a relationship. But that was me being in a childlike mindset, not understanding the work that it takes, just like with your children. You love them and you want to do everything for them, but you have challenges from when they are growing into a toddler, storming into their teenage rage, going through their young adulthood of thinking that they know everything when they just started life. And even as they grow until their 30s, 40s, and 50s, true parents that love their kids do not stop caring. They do not stop worrying. For me, that's how I understood what I wanted in a relationship. I also had a mother, a grandmother, and a father that has left me on this planet. And our life wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. We did the best we could. I believe that they were the best parents and grandparents that they could be. But for me, that was love. And I experienced love from that. So for me, a lot of people, you're chasing love, you're chasing this idea of love. But take what you had from people that you did care about, people that you have in your life right now. That is love. That is your expression of love. And you aren't supposed to change anyone. You're not supposed to change anyone. First, why don't you just try finding someone that loves the way you love, that believes in what you believe in? If you're the type of person that is obsessed with your mother and father and you believe in having a bond with your mom and father, you might not connect with someone that could care less about their mom or dad. You know what I mean? Like, you're not judging. There's not anything wrong with that. We all know parents aren't 100% perfect. They make mistakes. There are children that would experience the same pain that a certain set of children experience, and they would have another set of children experience that same pain and forgive their parents and still love their parents. You get what I'm saying? There's different types of people, and it doesn't always necessarily mean that you're a horrible person. You just have to find the person that their mindset is almost kind of like the same as you, if that makes sense. You know, for me personally, and you know, this is me being open, I realized that I could never truly connect with someone that was not obsessed with their parents. You know what I mean? Someone that wasn't obsessed with their mom or their dad or their grandmother. Like, there wasn't a connection there. You know what I mean? And this is something for everyone. You know, that could be my thing. Like, a connection with grandparents and family, like blood, is very important to me. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that, for me, I feel like that interprets for a relationship. And that means that that's a big mindset that's important for me. It doesn't mean, listen, there's people that go through traumas, and I never want to push that away. You know what I mean? Like, there are parents, obviously, that are not perfect, and they do things that are unforgivable. So this isn't for everyone. You have to find what it is for you. So in an intimate relationship, right, you're getting some type of satisfaction. I mean, intimacy is one of the best feelings in the world. It's almost as good as that feeling when you first meet someone and you're so attracted to them, and you just can't wait to talk to them. You just can't wait to see them. You just can't wait to hug them. You just can't wait to be around them and just to be in their presence. You know, that's also how you can kind of tell, because of course what you feel for like your parents, your grandmother, your mother is something that of course you would feel different from your, you know, your husband or wife, but there has to be some part of that without the intimacy part, you know, because the intimacy part can be tricky because it's like it you know, it could mean a little bit more for some people than others. Okay, it is important that moving forward, you know, if you are single, that you always focus on the separating, okay, is this lust or is this love? You know what I mean? When you're single, it's very important for you to make sure that you separate that, you know. Lust is very powerful. I believe as powerful as love. It feels exactly the same. It smells the same. It looks the same. And again, these are my opinions. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. That is what's great about being, you know, in America, you know. Like I said, I use my children as an example of what love is. You know, when you are in a relationship, and this is for my single people, what happened when you broke up? Was this person ready to leave you on the street to die? Was this person ready to take every single penny that you have worked for? Did they tell every single person your deepest, darkest secrets, wanting you to be alone and dead on the street? Did you ruin and destroy anyone's belongings, or did someone destroy your belongings? Did you wish harm on another person? You know what I mean? Or did someone wish harm on you? You know, what happened, like, you know, in a relationship, you know? We have metaphors that we say, and it's like, where did that come from? You know, why is it still here in 2025? For example, the question, the statement, love will make you do the craziest things. I wrote, so is that really what we're going to say? Like, love makes you do the craziest things? So here's an example. So if my child was to abandon me on the street because I know I love them, my pain and my hurt would be way more too powerful than to feel anger because I know I truly love them. So to me, I would think that if you really loved someone, when you guys are not no longer together, or you realize that, it's not working out and you're not supposed to be together, the fact that we program ourselves to say that love will make you do crazy things. No, love is not supposed to make you do something crazy to someone. If you love them, you're incapable of hurting them. You're incapable of wanting to see harm on them. You're incapable of wanting to take them away from their family. You're incapable of taking them through a court process. You're incapable of doing anything that will hurt them. You would be too much in pain for that. And, everyone has a right to have their emotions the same way. That's why you have, fire signs, water, I get all that. But to really actually say that love and harm, or love and causing straight chaos in someone's life because it's not working out, that is not love. In 2025, maybe in 1 BC, maybe 3,000 years ago, maybe, 20,000 years ago, maybe. But in 2025, we have way too much love, way too much access to good things, way too much blessings on this earth to still think that way. We have way too much good to have that mindset and that mind process of, you don't want to be with me no more. It's not about what your feelings are. You don't want to be with me no more. I just want to make your life a living hell. That's not love, honey. When someone does not want to be with you anymore, I'm not talking about a vindictive, heartless person. I'm talking about someone that has attempted to be in a relationship with someone, let's say 6 months or more, and they feel nothing. They feel no connection. And instead of saying to themselves, maybe I moved into this relationship too fast. Did I get to know them? Do I know what they want? Do I know what they want for their future? What are their career goals? How do they see their partner in a relationship? For example, what do they see the role of a male in the relationship, or what is the role of a female in the relationship? Or to my LGBTQ community, what are we doing when the relationship ends? Anyone in a relationship. I saw a story where they said that if someone still wants to be friends with, well, it was a study that if someone still wants to be friends with their ex, then that means that they are a sociopath. This was an actual study, okay? And trust me, I will never, talk bad about the medical community. Listen, these people go to school for decades, and I'm just having a little disagreement with this pointer, okay, about you being a sociopath. Well, in 2025, you would be considered a sociopath if you want to be friends with your ex. This really had me thinking, because what we're teaching people is that it is normal to want to hate the person that you loved. It is normal to want to harm the person that you was in a relationship with. It is normal to never want to be in the person's life that you shared a bed with, that you shared your body with, that you may have even had a child with. It is a sociopathic thought. This is a study, And of course, maybe 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, before the human mind developed, maybe that is just naturally in our DNA. Now, I'm not trying to combat DNA. Listen, masculine is masculine and feminine is feminine. It's very, that's DNA. I can't control that. But it's the same way how a 8-year-old child has it in their DNA to jump around and not listen to their parents and, not clean up unless you tell them to. That is in their DNA. But it is our job as the parent to tell them, you need to listen to me. You need to stop jumping around. You need to listen to what I'm saying. You need to clean up, because when you get older, you're going to need to know how to clean up after yourself. When you get into relationships with people, it doesn't always necessarily mean that, you know what I mean? Like, just because something is in your DNA and you're programmed a certain way, it doesn't mean that you cannot deprogram. We're going to have hard topics, people that are, single out here, you're going to have hard topics about yourself, and we're going to have it, because the biggest part of growth is when you're able to look at the mirror and you're not looking that great. You have to go through that. You have to, because every single relationship, has their reasons why it could end, right? And sometimes there are some people that really have it in their program, in their brain and program, that it's always them. Like they're always ready to give, and they're always ready to, be there for that person. But this isn't on my script, but let me give you an example. Okay, let's say, for example, you have someone, a female, she's like, I'm ready to give him this, and I'm just want all his love, and I will pay his bills, and I will help him with his children, and I will help him with his bankruptcy, and I will do all that. But yet he first just came out, he wants the relationship too. You know what I mean? Or he wouldn't have bothered getting into it. He might also want the relationship, right? But the person before him, she put him down. You know what I mean? He had to figure things out. They went through struggles. She was emotionally abusive. She, got with his best friend. I mean, he just finished getting jacked up from that. So it's like, you're saying that you're this great person, but you're not listening. You're not hearing the person say, hey, I want to be in this relationship, but I want to take it slow. You know what I mean? I'm still dealing with some stuff. I feel like I am in a position to be in a relationship, but I want us to get to know each other, want to be friends. I feel like that sounds healthy, So while you're saying to yourself, you're ready to give this person just everything, they were just a bum on the street until you came and you were their rescuer. You know what I mean? But you didn't listen to not one thing they said. You're not paying attention to that. They're saying that they still are dealing with trauma. They're healing through it. Or, there's some people with trauma, you're going to get into relationships and your trauma is not fully healed. But when you realize that you experience trauma and that you experience pain and you don't want to deal with it anymore, sometimes it might creep back up. But if you're in the mental space of knowing, like, that's not for me, I want this, I want a relationship, I want to know how it is to cohabitate with someone, I want to move forward with love because I know I want it. You know what I mean?